Lesson 4, multiply by one digit and two-digit numbers. When you're doing multiplication, there's a couple different methods you can use to find an answer. Up to you, but I'm going to show you three different ways you can do multiplication. Before we do that, you need to know some vocabulary. So, the numbers in a problem, the numbers being multiplied together are called factors. The numbers being multiplied together are called factors. When you multiply numbers together to get an answer, that is called the product. So factors are multiplied together to give you the answer, which is the product. Now I'm going to show you the first way of doing multiplication. The first method is what's called using place value and partial products, or it's also known as the distributive property. So what you're going to do is you're going to break apart a number into each of its place values and multiply them separately. So let's look at our problem. Michelle brushes her teeth 3 times a day, each day for a year. How many times will Michelle brush her teeth in a year? There are 365 days in a year. So what we're going to do is we're going to break apart the number 365 into its different place values and multiply each of those by 3. So looking at 365, we see 5 in the ones column, which means the value is 5. So first we're going to do 5 times 3. Now looking at 365, we see 6. 6 is in the tens column. So since 6 is in the tens value, its value is 60. So we're going to multiply 60 by 3. And then finally, we have 3. 3 is in the hundreds column. So since 3 is in the hundreds column, its value is 300. So we're going to multiply 3 by 300. So what we did was we took each place value and multiplied it by 3. 3 times 5, 3 times 60, 3 times 300. Now that we've got these all together, all we're going to do is add them together, and that gives us our total. So if you take those numbers together, 15 plus 180 plus 1 plus 900, you get 1095, and that's your answer. So this is called the distributive property. Another method is what's called using area models and partial products. Area models and partial products. And it works like this. So first, let's read the problem. Miss Adams will drive to work round trip 18 times this month. The distance is 42 miles. How many miles will Miss Adams drive for work this month? So we need to multiply 42 by 18. Similar to what we did before, we're going to break apart these numbers based on their place values. So let's look at the number 18. So again, 8 is in the ones column, so that's value is 8. So I'm going to write 8 here. And then 1 is in the tens column, which means it has the value 10. So there you go. So one row is 10, one row is 8. Let's look at the second number. 42. 2 is in the ones column, so its value is 2. And 4 is in the tens column, so that's value is 40. So I have a little grid that looks like this. I have 10 and 8 for my 2 rows, and I have 40 and 2 as my 2 columns. So what you're going to do is now you're just going to multiply them individually, and at the end add them together. So 40 times 10 gives me 400. 10 times 2 gives me 20. So I've got 400. I got 20. 8 times 40 gives me 320. And 8 times 2 gives me 16. So what am I going to do? I'm going to add all these numbers together, and then that gives me the total. So when I add up each number from their respective places, I add up 400 plus 20 plus 320 plus 16, I get 756. And that would be my answer. Again, this is called using area models and partial products. A third way of doing multiplication And the most common, or what I call old school way, because this is the way I was taught in school and how most people were taught in school, is what's called regrouping. So let's say I have 78 times 9. So I'm going to put 78 on top here times 9. Okay. So similar to addition and subtraction, I'm going to go column by column and multiply my numbers. So I'm going to start here at the bottom, 9 times 8. 9 times 8 is 72. Now, just like with addition, 72 is a two-digit number. I'm going to write the second digit underneath. So 8 times 9 is 72. The 2 goes there. This time, I'm going to put a 7 up here. I'm going to repeat. 9 times 7 is 63. But this time, I need to add 7 because I brought over a 7. I carried over a 7 from the previous column. So 9 times 7 is 63. 63 plus 7 is 70. So I write it down on the bottom and then I'm done. 78 times 9 is 702. This is called regrouping. Let's look at another example and try to solve this two different ways. Let's start with our distributive property first. So remember, with distributive property, I'm going to break apart my number based on its place values. So I got 7, all right, multiplied by 185. So let's break down 185. So I see 5 in the ones column, which has the value of 5. So I have 5 times 7. I'm going to look at my second digit. I see the digit 8. Now 8's in the 10 spot, which means its value is 80. So I have 80 times 7. And finally, if I look in my last spot, I have a 1. 1 is in the hundreds column, so its value is 100. So I have 100 times 7. So what am I going to do? I'm going to multiply all those and then add them together. So 5 times 7 is 35. 80 times 7 is 560. And 7 times 100 is 700. Now, I'm just going to add those all together. 5 plus 0 plus 0 is 5. 3 plus 6 plus 0 is 9. 5 plus 7 is 12. So what do I get? 1,295. So that's using the distributive property. Let's try using the regroup method. So I'm going to line it up. I've got 185 times 7. So again, I'm going to go column by column, carrying over whatever numbers I have from a two-digit number. So we'll start with the first column. I have 7 times 5. 7 times 5 is 35. So I write 5 down here. I'm going to carry that 3 from the 35. Now I'm going to do 7 times 8. 7 times 8 is 56, plus 3 is 59. So the 9 goes down here from the 59, and I carry over the 5. Now I finish it off. 7 times 1 is 12. Sorry, 7 times 1 is 7. Plus that 5 gives me 12. And guess what? We end up with the same answer. So it's really up to you which method you want to use, which one's easier, but you should get to the same answer no matter how you try to solve it. And we'll do one last problem using the area model and partial product method. So here I have 37 times 52. So I'm going to break apart both these numbers into their place values. So let's start with 37. 37, all right, I've got 7 in the ones column, and I've got 3 in the 10 column. That gives me 30. All right, so I've got 30 and I've got 7. So let me set that up real fast. I'm going to make a little grid. So I got 30 and I got 7. Okay, so let's do the other number, shall we? So looking at 52, I'm going to break it apart. So 2 is in the one spot, which means its value is 2. And 5 is in the 10 spot, which means its value is 50. So now I've set up my grid. All right, I've broken them apart into their different place values. And now I'm going to multiply each quadrant and then add them all together. So we'll do that. Ready? Let's start with 30 times 50. 30 times 50 is 1500. 30 times 2 is 60. All right, so I got those two filled in. Let me go down. 7 times 50 is 350. And 7 times 2 is 14. So if I take all these numbers and I add them together, if I get 1500 plus 60 plus 350 plus 14, that comes out to, just give me 1 second, just to make sure, I get the right answer. And so the answer comes out to 1924, which we can see is one of our options. So that's using the area, model, and partial products. Again, these are three different ways of doing multiplication. Whatever you're most comfortable with, you should get the same answer no matter how you try to solve it.